my heart, 'cause you know where it start. On a DJ Swig Show. On A9 Radio. With my homegirl, Ebony Hollywood. And my homeboy, Mr. 937.
Yes.
And the magnificent Dr. Ian is in the house. That's us. And let's let this, man. We're going to get into it. Lady Songbird, Casey, what's popping with you? You can go ahead and turn it. And we waiting for you to come back on here. But let's get us into it. Let's go. A microphone check 1 2 1 2. You know what he here and what he come to do, and if you don't know his name, he's going to give it to you.
9 3 7.
Let's go. A microphone check 1 2 1 2. You know what she here and what she come to do, and if you don't know it, then she's going to give it to you. Wow. A microphone check 1 2 1 2. You know what he here and what he come to do, and if you don't know his name, he's going to give it to you.
My name is Dr. Nera Vetla.
Yeah. A microphone check 1 2 1 2. You know what I'm here and what I come to do, and if you don't know her name, I'm going to give it to you. I go DJ Swig Bounce. You left to the DJ Swig Show. Hey, not real, not this is the movement. Powered by Fusky, but home of the DJ Swig Show. Y'all know what time it is. We in the building. We have, listen, today's show is going to be different. I know most of the time we get into what the city of Springfield needs and the streets and how can we save Springfield, but we're going to save Springfield in a whole different way today. We're going to save Springfield in the health department. We got Dr. Ian in the house. His name is Dr. What's your name? How you pronounce it again?
Nera Vetla.
Nera Beckler.
Nera Vetla.
Yes, sir. We have him in the building with us. Got you, Casey. How you feel today, sir?
I'm feeling great. Thank you very much
Man,
for
first,
inviting me.
thank you for coming on here.
Yes, sir.
And when I seen you at the Culture Festival, you had a lot. You just passed a lot of good things to the city. So I'm happy that you can come in here and share it and bring it to the ones that who really needs it. What's up, Eels? Brandy, what's up? Sean, what's up? Tamika, what's up? So we're gonna talk about some couple things today. High blood pressure.
Yes.
Strokes. What is ED?
You really want to know?
Yes.
It may be a PG or a R-rated word actually, but
we
erectile dysfunction.
What is it?
Erectile dysfunction.
For your worm.
I ain't got that.
Oh, that's what that is. Oh.
You got none of that, boy. Fully functional.
Mr. 937, you don't want to get that. So that's why I'm here.
I don't want none of that. You would be absolutely right, sir. I want none of that.
You sound like a Haitian.
Mr. 937 don't want that.
Yeah.
That's
So
how I'm about to talk tonight in that bedroom.
So we talking about he don't got them all. Didn't I tell you he don't got them all?
Yes.
I think we need to diagnose him with something else. So blood pressure, high blood pressure, a lot of that going on in the city, a lot of that going on across the world. And you see a lot of people having diabetes and blood pressure, high blood pressure. Like most people I talk to be like, I gotta take my blood pressure pills.
Right.
And I'd be like, dang man, a lot of people take blood pressure pills. But we trying to figure out where do it come from? Like how you get it, how can you provoke it from happening? How can you? So only way we can do that is we have to bring someone in here who can let us know this.
So if I may, I want to start with this subject that you started.
Talk to me.
Erectile dysfunction. So I'm a heart surgeon.
Okay.
I started the heart program in Springfield about 20 years ago now.
Okay.
I have no interest in erectile dysfunction, honestly, okay, or prevention thereof. But I'm interested in prevention of heart disease, heart failure, heart attacks, and everything else. But unfortunately, erectile dysfunction plays into that. And that's how it got on my list of things that come from eating salt. So may I explain?
Yes.
Okay. So high blood pressure by itself is one of the major risk factors for getting erectile dysfunction. High blood pressure is a major risk factor for getting erectile dysfunction. So that's not all. Now what makes things worse is many of the medications that doctors prescribe to control high blood pressure themselves cause erectile dysfunction. So it's a double whammy. Now, if you don't take your medications, your blood pressure remains out of control. And if you do take the medications, you got erectile dysfunction. So pick your poison. And why that is problem is in Black America, as you know, high blood pressure affects at a very young age. And you get high blood pressure and the doctor tells you need to go on a pill. And guess what? He's only 35, 40-year-old guy. He's not going to take the pill and have ED. So he's not going to take the medication.
That's me.
That's you, right? So as a result of uncorrected high blood pressure, you're going to come to me, heart surgeon, 5-10 years down the road in heart failure because high blood pressure has remained uncorrected. And a Black American gentleman is 20 times more likely than a Caucasian to come to the hospital in heart failure by the age of 50.
Ooh.
Do you want me to repeat that?
Yes, please.
A Black American man is 20 times more likely to come with heart failure before the age of 50 compared to a Caucasian. That has to do with this combination of high blood pressure and ED. This is a very dangerous thing. 937, I hope you're paying attention.
I'm listening to you. Let me tell you something. Even though I do not have any problems in the ED department, I must say there was a time in my 20s where I believed that I might have had it because I was quick. I was popping off. I didn't know if it was. I didn't want to go seek help, but my God, 30, 40 strokes, I was out of there. I didn't know what.
So hold on. So I listen here, Dr. Ian. I'm trying to get some things, and I'm trying to grasp myself.
Right.
So the ED,
yes,
that means you having trouble going in. You having trouble, or
you having trouble getting that bone?
Yeah, you having trouble getting up.
Oh, that's what it means.
Yeah.
So blood pressure can cause that.
Yes, high blood pressure can cause that. So I wrote a blog about it. You know, if your listeners are interested, they can go to Google and say "not now, honey." 3 words: not now, honey, and the blog pops up, and it explains what's the relationship between high blood pressure and erectile dysfunction, and it also explains how some of the medications themselves might be causing it. So if you're a smart man, you don't want to get high blood pressure. This is one big reason for men not to look at high blood pressure as a preventable disease. Don't wait till it comes. So if you don't have high blood pressure, good, but don't keep hoping that you won't get it unless you stop eating salt. Okay, so that's the message. He's already checking. Not now, honey.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something. My high blood pressure doesn't come from really salt. Mainly comes more from a Black woman. That's just me though. The Black woman is why I have high blood pressure. So, all this independentness and us trying to keep up with them nowadays could shoot our blood pressure through the roof.
Hey, so how can you keep? So, okay, I got a question. So once you got high blood pressure, they got you on the medicine and stuff.
Yes.
Is it any way you can get off of high blood pressure? Like, is it any way your blood pressure?
Sure. If you're on one medication, there's a good possibility you can come off that if you diligently, carefully stay away from eating anything that has salt in it. Whether you put it yourself or you by eating something already has salt added. Example would be lunch meat. Lunch meats are very salty. Cheese, another example. You don't make cheese in America without salt. So these are kinds of things that are salty that you don't realize you get a lot of salt. And you tell yourself, I'm not adding salt to my food, so I must be okay. No, 80% of the excess salt we're consuming is coming from things that already have salt added to that. So if you diligently cut out those things, instead replace them with a lot of fruits and nuts, unsalted nuts, variety of unsalted nuts and variety of fruits. If you do that, if you're on 3 pills, you'll come down to 2. If you're on 2, you'll come down to 1. If you're on 1, you'll come off that.
But everything has salt in it, man. Like, how can you?
You won't be able to eat nothing.
Man, you might as well just be a vegan almost. Like, for real.
Yes, that's unfortunately true. What you said is true. Especially what is available in Black American neighborhoods is extremely salty. And that's right. What doesn't sell in a nice neighborhood sells here. You get dumped. The industry dumps bad food in Black American neighborhoods.
Now, what did it say one more time?
The industry dumps bad food in Black American neighborhoods.
So what is considered a bad food? Because
High salty, high processed.
Everything.
like Grippos. 'Cause I eat a lot of Grippos.
Yeah, it might be one of those.
Okay.
So I know it's coming to you. So I would just
So he gonna be seeing you here soon, right?
no, not until he gets heart failure. I don't deal with that ED problem.
So how he talking? Once again, he dropped the mic. So strokes. I see
Yes.
you got to if y'all don't know, this is what I'm looking at. To all the viewers who's watching us live and listen to us on the actual radio, this is what we're looking at. Also, he wrote a book.
Yes.
He wrote a book. Talk to us about the book.
So, I first wrote a book called Salt Kills to get people to eat less or no salt. And salt is generally bad for everybody, but especially bad for Black America. Every salt-related health problem that you saw on the list affects Black America many times over. Some, as I just pointed out, 20 times worse than the Caucasians.
Damn.
So I wrote this book to explain why Black America is so vulnerable to eating table salt. In very simple words. It's written in sixth grade language with a lot of stories and analogies and pictures to how it came to be that Black America is paying such a big price for eating salt, and try to motivate Black America to cut back on salt. That was the idea of this salt is public service message. It's not intended to make money. I'm a heart surgeon, as I told and earlier on. That's how I make my living, but this is for prevention.
Black people need to cut back on chitlins. White people don't eat chitlins. I don't eat chitlins either. But
So why in the Black America is more dominant than?
So I explained that in my book, and it goes back to this particular picture.
And I'm sorry to cut you off. The reason why I asked that is because if we eating the same thing, if we all eating the same thing, why is it higher for us than it will be for Caucasian
Well,
or be
actually,
for?
that goes right back to that joke. You ever heard the joke that white people don't season their food?
Uh,
You making this sound real true right now?
No, so if you take an average Caucasian and an average Black gentleman in the same food, if it is processed and salty, the Black man pays much bigger price, and that's what this book is all about.
Okay.
So to get to the really bottom of that, why this happened, just about anything that you eat or drink, it affects different people in a different way. Some people seem to get away with some stuff than others, right? But salt is like that. Some people get away with more than others, and Black people cannot get away with it. So there's a study done back in the 70s by one Dr. Dahl, D-A-H-L.
Yeah.
And what he did is, I don't know if you can see this picture, he took a bunch of rats and fed them salt. And what happened is, some of the rats developed high blood pressure and died very quickly, and some of them did not. So he called the ones that developed high blood pressure quickly salt sensitive. The ones who develop high blood pressure really quickly called salt sensitive. The ones that did not develop high blood pressure that quickly, he called them salt resistant. Salt sensitive, salt resistant. So if you're salt sensitive, you're going to be affected by anything salt related much faster. And it just so happens Black America is by far the most salt sensitive ethnic group in the world. Black America is the most salt sensitive ethnic group in the world. So the salt affects Black America much worse. You might ask how that happened, but
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
That experiment was done on rats, right?
Yes.
Now, how does rats compare to human beings as far as to really get the more accurate?
Yes. So these kind
background,
of studies are
like,
repeated there.
Wouldn't it be, I guess, more common to try the results on humans?
Yes, of course. Before any drug medication treatment becomes a common practice in human beings, you start somewhere. You start with commonly guinea pigs, as you probably heard of.
Right.
Then it goes up the chain. It goes all the way to primates like chimpanzees. Then you go through a trial with some limited human beings, and then make it wide open for rest of the public. So this information has gone on all the way to human beings, and there has been studies about the salt sensitivities of the human beings. And Black Americans have the highest salt sensitivity. Caucasians about 25-30% are salt sensitive. So various ethnic groups have different degrees of salt sensitivity, but Black Americans who are descendants of the slave trade, Black Americans who are descendants of slave trade are the most salt sensitive. The Black Americans who are recent immigrants, like myself, I immigrated in the 70s. So I'm an immigrant, first generation immigrant. There are Black Americans who are like me, or first generation immigrants. They are not salt sensitive. But Black Americans who are descendants of, previous slave trade, they are by far the most salt sensitive.
Wow.
So you can actually tell if you come from a slave by, because I hear all the time, like on my mom's side of the family, diabetes runs on my mom's side of the family.
Yes.
And then high blood pressure runs on my dad's side of the family. Now, my dad actually just had a stroke 2 months ago.
Wow, I'm so sorry to hear that.
So, but it's because he can't lay off the salt because he has a kidney disease.
Yes.
So that actually told me right there that he's actually a descendant.
Yes, it's very likely. At least he's very salt sensitive.
Yeah.
So he has just about everything that I'll put on my list. None of them are pleasant. A stroke, heart, kidney problem, heart attacks.
Oh yeah.
Everything that was
from salt.
Yes.
So all of them seem like they're
Every one of them has a
black
root in the
people
salt.
Stay suffering from high blood pressure, and it's just everywhere.
And my dad actually had a stroke eating chicken.
Okay.
God.
Fried chicken. Well, he had the stroke while eating fried chicken.
Unfortunately, stroke is something I deal with almost every day. It's very
Really?
unfortunate to see somebody suffer a stroke or live with it. It is a really tragic event.
So what made you get into the heart?
Well, I've been a heart surgeon. I've been doing heart surgery since the 80s, so almost 40 years, okay? And I started the heart program, as I said, 20 years ago in Springfield. And since then, I'm completely only in Springfield. Before that, I used to go to Dayton. But about 10 years ago, some light went off in my head, so to speak. So I should engage in prevention. What I'm doing is really horrible. What I'm doing is preventable.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 people I'm cutting open every day don't need to be. And it didn't hit me until I start operating on my own friends and family and colleagues and doctors and nurses. This is ridiculous. Why am I doing this? So I started looking into the real prevention. I came across this issue of the salt that has remained widely ignored. And everybody talks about smoking and cholesterol, but nobody talks about salt. So it turns out that salt is actually as big or worse than smoking. And when it comes to Black America, it's by far the worst. By far. So let me just put it in simple words. 70% of the difference between the health status of Black America versus Caucasians, 70% of the difference between the health status of Black America versus Caucasians comes from salt-sensitive health problem. Not from crime, HIV, and all those things people might want to make you believe. They're all there in all poverty-stricken neighborhoods, whether black, white, or any other color. It's not exclusive to Black America. Unfortunately, society seems to often think about it that way, but 70% comes from purely for the fact that Black America is salt sensitive.
Hey, because no joking, when I eat a bag of chips, my leg and stuff instantly swell up.
Yes. So that is the number one symptom. I walk around with a sponge in the hospital sometimes to draw attention to the very simple explanation. Salt is like a sponge. It retains water. If you're eating salt, you're retaining water, just like you explained. This plays out thousands of times. And that's how Black America became salt sensitive. You want to know that story? So back in the day, a time period called Middle Passage.
Yeah.
So that's when most of the slave trade happened, you might recollect. So during that time, the slave traders from Europe went to a part of Africa called the Gold Coast, and they picked up young black men and women from that Gold Coast area and packed them in the boats and carried them across the Atlantic to the Americas. And that journey happened in summer, and that journey across the Atlantic lasted usually about 3 months. And you have some images in this book. And during those 3 months, they were packed in those boats like sardines. And when I say sardines, I mean sardines. Okay, so take a look at these pictures. So when you're packed like that in the boards, under the hull,
That's all in your book.
that's in my book. And that's
Wow.
if you go to Google and say Middle Passage, all these pictures show up. So what happened then is that many died from dehydration. Many died from simply dehydration. When they died from dehydration, they got thrown overboard. And you think Black Lives Don't Matter is a new slogan? It's
Yes.
very old. It's very old. It's way back then Black Lives didn't matter. Okay, so it's just a reinventing the old slogan. But so they got thrown overboard. Guess what? The ones who are salt sensitive, salt is like a sponge. It retains water, right?
Yep.
So the ones who are salt sensitive had more water to spare, and they survived that horrific journey. The salt sensitive black Africans then survived the journey and made it to the shores of the Americas. So salt sensitivity saved their lives on those boats. That's how they survived. But then you're still paying the price, because being salt sensitive, which carries generation after generation, and the descendants of the slave trade are salt sensitive. Now that because you retain water very easily, you, just like you pointed out yourself, you develop high blood pressure and all the long list of problems a lot faster than somebody else who is not salt sensitive.
Wow.
So I guess my big question is now is what are we allowed to eat?
Nothing.
You can eat anything you want, but don't put salt in it. You can eat anything you want, but don't put salt in it.
Right.
There's thousands of things that you can eat. In fact, I've been salt free for 5 years. I wish I was sooner than that, because
So you get a baby. So here's my question. Let's Doc, you go to Texas Roadhouse.
I don't go to Texas. I stopped going there. I do sometimes. I go to Bob Evans instead. You want me to tell you the Texas Roadhouse story? Okay, I went there one time, and they have these peanuts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the bucket.
And buckets. I said to the manager, I said, why can't we have these peanuts unsalted? I said, that's a good question, Doc. I'll find out why it can be. So I go next time. The manager said, we need to put salt in to preserve this peanut. That's why you put salt. I said, give me a break. You go to buckets of peanuts every day. There's no question of preservation. You just bring them fresh. People eat it fine. I said, you're right, Doc. We'll try next time. So go back next time. Then the real story comes out. You know what he says? Sorry, sir, we can't have unsalted peanuts. He said, why? Then people won't order any beer.
Oh.
Oh, it's right, because you saw it.
So you drink.
It's all about business.
That's
Right.
what Pepsi.
So-
Pretzels.
That's when I stopped going to Texas Roadhouse.
Mm.
But I do go to Bob Evans,
Okay.
for example. And I actually go to Bob Evans every Sunday, almost every Sunday morning.
So what you get at Bob Evans? Okay.
So I get an oatmeal without any salt, anything added. I put the walnuts and pecans and raisins into that, and add some fruit into it. Or I get some grits. I do the same thing. Don't put any salty things in it. And I order eggs over easy, and that's my typical breakfast.
So eggs over easy. Don't still like the yolk.
Yes. Or I order
Ain't
an
that
omelet.
bad for you?
Well, not if you don't eat every day. If you eat every day, it may be bad. But once in a while, it's fine. Once a week is actually maybe desirable for especially people who don't eat a lot of meats. So I sometimes order an omelet. And when I order an omelet, I say, make it vegetarian, make it light, and don't put any cheese in it. So they put only mixed vegetables, which are just simply marinated, and put it in there. That's it.
When you eat your grits, you put salt or sugar?
I do not put neither of them.
You don't put sugar in them either?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, because I know that's like a big debate in the hood.
No.
All right. Sorry, sugar.
If you want the grits to be sweet, eat tasting sweet, put some raisins, cut some dates and put it in it. Put some fruits in it. There's a natural ways to make it sweet.
Natural.
So I got a question. So 5 years from now, and you've been in Springfield, you seen they come in, you seen them go, you seen them come in, you shake your head like, why is it still the same thing? 5 years from now, where do you see this?
5 years now, I hope, I don't know if you heard, we recently went to City Hall and petitioned to them that our local restaurants on the menu should have the salt information like New York City does. Okay. So I hope they act on it. So I hope to see reduction in high blood pressure rates, And I go to schools. I talk to 6th grade students, 7th grade students. I went to many churches right here next door, Restored Life. I've been there 3 different times.
Okay.
So I go to all the churches, try to motivate people. This is a campaign. It's almost like a mission. I would say it's a crusade now. So I go around telling people all the time. So if I am walking around an airport or a restaurant, I see somebody shaking the salt shaker, I have no problem stopping right there and telling, sir, please don't do that. I have no problem saying that. You may be offended, but I don't.
Hey,
I
that's
don't care.
gangster. You hear
I
me?
don't care.
Yeah.
You make get the baked potato, you put your cheese and stuff away.
Oh yes.
Don't do
Don't
it.
do that.
Don't do it.
Huh?
Absolutely, yes. Stop them right in the track.
You should join the nation.
I don't need to know that person who that is. Anyway, I saw this is a serious crusade from my part. So I hope to see within 5 years, Springfield is already more aware than many other cities in the country about the problems of salt. But I need to see it in action. I need to see, especially Black America. I'd like to see my focus is very strongly with the Black American communities. I don't know if you know, I'm also the health chair of the NAACP, and I am working with a lot of Black American groups to raise awareness of this. I'm really upset that this information that I showed you about salt sensitivity was aware in the 1970s.
What I'm upset with is you working with so many.
Why didn't somebody take a moment to say, hey, Black America, just you're salt sensitive, cut back on your salt? It didn't take a lot of money to do that.
Right, would have saved a lot of people's lives.
Oh yeah.
and that's what. And this one dish I do have right now that you just said that you're working with so many African American people in higher places who ain't saying nothing, because I know a lot of people in my listeners they don't know none of this. So they all now giving hearts like, wow, we didn't know that. So now the NAACP and all them, I'm trying to figure out why did we, the Black community, ain't getting this information faster now.
So I'm going solo right now. I'd like to have, that's why I'm on the radio show.
Yes,
more and more people
and I thank you for that.
And I have more and more people to help me out here. Okay, so I spoke to many congressmen. I went to Washington D.C. on my own time, went and met at least 25 different congressmen from the Congressional Black Caucus. Okay, so everybody got a copy of the book, and everybody said, yeah, this is an important problem. We need to do something, but nobody does anything. I have also reached out to many celebrities, including big names that you can think of, including Oprah Winfrey and all down the list. So they all have my books and my work, but they're afraid to get me on the radio or TV or whatever, like you did, because they're afraid they're going to lose endorsement, because the processing industry controls the world. They're such deep-pocketed people, and they're so creative in if they want to sell you a product, they will tomorrow figure out a way to make you believe that you need the product. Okay, so they're so creative, and you're marketed. That's it. So people don't have any original knowledge. The only knowledge people have nowadays is what is marketed to them. Very unfortunate.
Wouldn't the object be? I guess wouldn't the object be more is to keep you living long enough to even be alive to be for their product? To me, that would be like the more mindset of, you would think of people to say, I need to keep people alive long enough or longer to be around for my product, which means I need to get you to not eat no salt because I want you to be around for my products.
Unfortunately, they have not taken that angle so far. Maybe that's an angle we should try. But right now, they're interested in the entire market industry works on next quarter. What's your next quarter profits? They work you're only as good as your last quarter profits.
That's right.
So their goals are short term. They don't look at what happens 20 years down the road.
Right. They want to know.
Yeah, they want to know.
Your promotion and your bonus depends on how did you last quarter. So they're not interested in long term.
This is crazy, man. Like I said, you tune in DJ Swig, not just in the movement. Powered by Fox Community, we are your one and only radio station here in Springfield that gives you that what, Mr. 937?
That hot popcorn butter.
That buttery hotness. We're going to give you that.
Hotness.
And now we ain't going to give you the buttery hotness because the buttery hotness ain't good for you.
Salt, right?
Yeah, so
Well, the buttery hotness we give you is unsalted.
Yeah.
Straight out the tap.
so we ain't gonna give it to you all the way. And we thank everybody for tuning in, man, because every week and every day y'all do keep on supporting us. Like I said, we are the voice for Springfield. Everybody knows that. You gonna get the information, you gonna get it from us. And that's what we here right now to educate y'all on y'all health, including myself.
Yes.
Time out.
Oh, my
You
God.
said yes, like
Yeah, like
Yeah.
she's like, see,
Dude, we don't want to go there because we will give them the buttery hotness.
see,
please enlighten.
yeah.
We talked the other morning, and you said you had a doctor's appointment, and you was like, "Where's it at?" And I told you, you said, "I'm not going," and I was like, "You better go to the doctor." So
Yeah, because they
take
want.
care of
Good for
yourself.
you. Good for you. The best, women.
I didn't go. I rescheduled it.
See,
Okay.
that's terrible.
So it
I
is.
got
It is
that.
men in general. We try to procrastinate.
You cut me off.
Nah, you are. You are.
See about that health.
So what you saying?
That problem is there in all cultures, but just more pronounced in Black American culture. I give healthcare talks all the time, but 9 out of 10 people who come to my talks are women. Men don't really show up.
Right. What is that with men that they don't want to go to the doctor?
My daughter says you're missing a little bit of the chromosome. There's an X and Y,
A woman would say that, wouldn't it?
So don't care about y'all's health.
That ain't true.
So it is true. It has been studied actually. There's a term that is used called John Henryism. You heard about that? Men don't want to admit that you want to take care of your health. Don't want to admit that you may be vulnerable. Don't want to admit that you have a health problem or that you're taking any precautions. It's macho to be doing things bad to your body and eating things that you're not supposed to do. Considered macho. So that is a cultural thing. Goes with the male gender in general. And in African American community, there's another problem, and that is there's a trust gap between healthcare industry and Black American, and there is lots of reasons for that. There's a lot of history why typical Black American does not trust the healthcare system. And if I was in their shoe, I probably would not either, to be honest with you.
And you're right. And that's the thing about it. Hold on, before you get on, I'm going to let you finish what you're saying.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll just let you know y'all can call in right now and talk to us, 404-507-6895. Once again, 404-507-6895. Call in and tell us how you feel and give your input, what y'all want to. I see Kenneth said, what's the last digit of the number? 6895. Call in. What you saying?
So there's a trust gap between healthcare industry and our neighborhoods, whether you're a doctor, nurse, or hospital, or anything else of that matter. Black America does not trust them. And there's a long history of why that happened. But the industry looks at it, it's not my problem. If they come to me, I'll take care of them. If they don't come to me, there's nothing I can do about it. So the ball is not in my court. That's how the industry looks at it. But what I have tried to enforce with my colleagues and my hospital, my institution, it is still the ball is in our court. There's a reason why they don't trust you. And it's up to us to earn the trust back. You cannot demand that. You have to earn the trust. To earn the trust, you got to show that you're interested in their health. To demonstrate that you're engaged with the community, and then maybe over time you will earn the trust.
Man, you are the first that just said
Hot butter right there. Buttery hotness.
He just spoke some buttery hotness, because that was everybody's. We told everybody that you're gonna be on the show, and they kept on asking like, why we don't trust the doctors in Springfield? We don't, and I was like, I'm gonna ask them why don't they not trust the doctors? So I was gonna ask you that question, but you just hit the nail on the coffin, the nail on the wall. So continue.
It's not just Springfield; it's just everywhere in America. There's a long history of why that came to be. And I don't know if we have time to get into that, but regardless,
next time do whatever you want to do.
But regardless, it is in the court of the healthcare industry, whether you're a doctor, nurse, or anything else, to earn the trust back. And I say that to them, to my colleagues all the time. It is our problem. It's not. It's a mistake to look at it as it is Black America's problem. So that's why I organize health fairs in the community. I don't care if I organize health fairs where it's convenient to me. We got to go where the need is. We got to know what the needs are. We got to cater to that and just cajole them, encourage them, show that you're engaged in the community. It may not happen 1 time, 2 times, 10 times, but we need to do that on an ongoing basis. That's the only way we're going to earn the trust. We got to build a bridge to the neighborhoods. This is happening town after town.
Speaking for myself, I think maybe one of the problems is finding out that you're sick is expensive.
Yes, it is.
With my dad having a stroke, I'm now noticing that because of his medical that he has, the pills that he's on, he takes 9 different medicines a day. He was on the high blood pressure medicine. They took him off. But just adding up what he pays in just medicine, if he did not have a copay, because he pays like maybe $3-4, but if he had to pay everything out the pocket, my dad would spend at least 10 grand a month in just pills. And we ain't even cracked the doctor's appointments that he goes to, the surgeries.
I think that's one of the issues, insurance, man. I think insurance.
So that's why prevention is absolutely the most important key. The once the doctor puts you on a pill, you must ask the doctor. First question you ask is, how do I get off this pill? And just don't get comfortable saying, I'm just taking only one pill. I like my buttery chicken, whatever, and keep doing the same thing. And next thing you know, you're getting a second pill, and third pill, fourth pill, 9 pills, like it's just to explain. It all started with one pill. So we have started a movement in Springfield called Prevent High Blood Pressure. We got to look at high blood pressure is the most common health problem worldwide. Number one health problem worldwide. Most commonly preventable health problem worldwide. High blood pressure makes you a patient for the very first time forever. Once you get high blood pressure, no cure. Once you get diabetes, no cure. Once you get heart disease, no cure. You got to prevent it. So high blood pressure makes you a patient forever. The system that is so expensive, the system that you don't trust, system that is not accessible, you end up becoming a victim of the system. So we got to play it smart, and we have to prevent high blood pressure. We can't keep ourselves saying, I like my food this way, I like this spice, that. No, we can't. Health first, health first, health first. If you put health first, the taste will change. Human beings are very adaptable.
Now, why is places like Canada able to have free medical,
very good
but
question.
Places like us, and they say we're one of the strongest, most wealthiest countries, but we cannot have free medical like Canada.
Okay.
People in Canada can.
Right. So very, very good question. I actually been in Canada just recently. So United States and New Zealand are the only 2 countries where you can advertise on the TV about your medications and your service, medical service. Rest of the world you can't. The marketing of anything is the most expensive part of anything we do. Okay. Right. So that's one thing. Secondly, if you go to Canada, England, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, wherever, if you have $1 to spend on healthcare, this is the money you have to spend on healthcare. These communities say the best place to spend this money is in prevention. We first focus on prevention. When you come to America, does anybody talk about prevention? No. And if people like me who talk about prevention, they figure out a way to marginalize people. Not far be it from supporting people like me, they marginalize and run all over us all the time. So that is the problem in America. Prevention is a tough sell, and nobody wants, no money in prevention.
Right, you don't hear about prevention.
Yeah, you round of applause for that one. So you just said there's no cure for I see you got to hear too. There's no cure for diabetes. So once you got diabetes, you got diabetes.
You got diabetes.
What about ED? Is there a cure for that?
Well, if you can get off those medications, go down that website that I just told you that gives all the list of medications that are linked to ED. So try not to get on those medications. And there are alternative choices. But more importantly, not to get high blood pressure is the best choice. So you can, as I said along the way, you can scale down your medications. So if you eat a lot of fruits and a lot of nuts, that is your key.
I got 2 questions.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into, I got 2 questions because we're going to speed it up.
Shout out, Dwayne. What up, bro?
Yes, sir.
Right, caught you over there, Jan.
Yes, sir, Dwayne.
Hey, look, I worked hard today.
Dwayne, Casey.
That's the reason why men don't go to the hospital that much, because we at work.
Brianna, what's up?
Yeah,
Candace, what's up?
Make it to work.
Jesse, what's up?
I mean, y'all the one getting y'all nails and hairs done.
Larry, what's up?
Y'all got plenty of time. Y'all go make it to the doctor's office, right?
Brittany, Paul, Cassandra, Wendell, Amanda, Gerard, everybody, Eric, what's up? Everybody, thank you for tuning in and rocking with us. We appreciate it. But 2 things.
Yes.
Stomach cancer.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
So the stomach cancer is a problem in many parts of the world. About 30-40 communities in the world, stomach cancer is the number 1 killer. In America, lung cancer is the number 1 killer. Although Breast Cancer Awareness Month now, it is a emotionally important subject, and there's a lot of support for breast cancer awareness, but not as much for other cancers. I wish the same enthusiasm spilled over into other areas. But anyway, stomach cancer comes from, there is a relationship with salt intake. Just like when you smoke, the inside lining of the lung gets destroyed and eventually converts into cancer. When you keep eating salt, the inside lining of your stomach gets destroyed the same way, and eventually part of the stomach becomes cancerous. So there's a link between stomach cancer and eating salt. And there's an infection called H. pylori that loves salty environment. So Black America being salt sensitive, like every other salt sensitive health problem, the stomach cancer affects Black America twice more commonly than Caucasians for the same exact reason.
So my next question I have for you, they say don't use the small salt, use sea salt.
Okay.
Is that true?
Or like
Or
pink salt.
no.
I've heard the pink salt.
No, I'm so glad you asked me that question. If you didn't ask me before I left, I would have somehow brought that up. Sea salt is a major marketing ploy. Any kind of sea salt. It is sea salt, Celtic salt, Himalayan salt, pink salt, kosher salt. There is a sea salt named after every culture in the country.
Damn.
It is all salt. It's been marketed. You've been marketed. Okay. There's no different than any regular table salt. And some advertisements claim the sea salt has some special elements in them that you need. No, you don't need that. And even if you need them, that's not how you get it.
That's what I heard. They like
That's what I
You
was
do
told
not
too.
need
they
those.
said, don't you? And I'm not to cut you off because you talking about it and it's on my mind.
Yeah.
They said use sea salt and they said substitute salt for Mrs. Dash. Is that true?
Mrs. Dash is true. Mrs. Dash is not salt.
That's what
That's
they
the only
gave.
product I'm willing to endorse. Mrs. Dash is herbs mixed in a way to taste like salt. Sea salt is table salt for 99%.
That's what they gave my dad at the hospital. That
Mrs.
Mrs.
Dash. That's what
Mrs.
they gave
Dash.
me.
Yeah.
If you have sea salt at home, the first thing you do yourself a favor, throw it away. It's poison.
And by the dash.
Mrs. Dash, yes, you can have it. And what you do is you use more spices, more herbs, more spices. And if you use lime and lemon, cilantro, curry leaves, tamarind, various other spices, and use more of it. And my wife cooks very traditional Indian, South Indian meals, which are very salty traditionally, but she eliminated the salt. But if you eat her food now, you don't realize there's no salt in it. In fact, we have visitors come from our part of the world and they eat our food and they don't know there is no salt in it.
Now there are
That's
people who
good.
think that a vegan diet is the way to go.
There's a right way to be vegan and a wrong way to be vegan. That applies to every other diet habit. And what I'm going to say is, if you're not willing to eliminate salt in your diet, any diet is useless.
Right.
And
Because
totally useless.
me-
No matter what you call it, you're going to pay the price for it.
me and my girlfriend actually we just went a week without eating meat just to see if we could do it.
Okay.
Hardest week of my life, of course.
So what I would like you to try 97 is on a week, just take a weekend, just exercise some discipline. People do this kind of things all the time anyway. Just for 1 weekend, I'm going to eat with no salt at all this weekend.
Right.
Just 1 weekend, okay? I'm not going to add any salt. I'm not going to eat anything that has salt in it. So try that. You'll be surprised at the end of when Monday comes, any number of people, if you put something salt in their mouth, they're not going to like it.
So what we're gonna do is this. What we're gonna do. Cause Doc, I'm with you now, man. You
done changed my life.
Yeah, you.
Right, I love salt. No, that's why
I'll
I'm
be
sitting
done
here like,
broke a tear next time I
my
shake some.
gosh.
So
I eat a lot of hot
so
sauce. I eat a lot of French.
you didn't caught my eye, man, and you didn't got my attention. So what we're gonna do is here at 89 Radio, it's gonna start with us. We're gonna attempt this.
We're gonna
Okay.
take it
We're gonna go 1 week
1 week.
and we're gonna
A
videotape.
weekend.
Huh? Okay, we go weekend.
I can do a week. Let's do a
Now
week.
we're gonna do a week. We gotta go hard or go home. We're gonna do a week. We're gonna videotape this stuff
Yeah.
and see how they
Just
come
work out.
together.
So we did this study at St. John's right around the corner. We
Uh-huh.
gave them the education, like I'm telling you. And we had a nurse check their blood pressure. Every Sunday come. We did that 3 weekends, all the participants, everybody's blood pressure came down. They were all eating healthy. Their all medications were down, just like the studies have shown. We did it right in Springfield. The study right here.
You listen. You got our support.
Yes.
We're gonna
Thank
be
you.
with you.
Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
And everybody knows it. Everybody knows who listen to us, when we say something, our word is 99.9%. We go with it.
Wet.
Because we don't care how nobody feels.
Straight butter.
We give the butter hot.
Straight salt.
So what we're going to do, we're going to do a weekend. So
I'm going straight to Walmart.
I'm going to
dash.
give you a call.
Yes, sir. Please.
And we're going to set this up.
Yeah.
And we're going to put this together.
I'm confident. Dash.
Listen, the reason why I said we got to do it first because we got to challenge everybody else.
Right.
But we got to be able to do it first before we challenge everybody else.
You got to walk the walk.
If y'all can do it, then I'll do
That's
it.
right.
Because
You got to
y'all
walk the
the
walk. You
y'all
see,
the
see this the
men
pill.
face the
See this the pill.
Hold
This
on,
is a
whoa,
pill.
whoa.
This is a pill train. There's a pill train that's going downhill. Don't get on it.
Don't get on it.
Don't get
So
on
we
it.
listen.
Don't get on it.
I'm excited because we're going to do this. Listen. And if you're out there watching it,
no.
whoever out there listening
See
to
this
us,
train? You don't want to get on
if
it.
y'all want to
Now,
join us on this, we're going to do this.
Now I eat a lot of Frank's hot sauce. Does that mean I got to cut the Frank's hot sauce out?
Yes, everybody.
Yes. We're going
Damn,
to get at it.
You can put plain chilies if you want something hot, and put some tamarind if you want tangy taste. Use lime and lemon instead of salt, and do those kind of things. And
So
you'll be surprised.
I'm on it.
the lemon and water,
Yeah.
what do that do?
A lemon has a lot of what are called antioxidants. Antioxidants are friendly elements that protect your body against many things, wear and tear, and external enemies and things like that. So lime is one of the vitamin C is a prime example of one of the friendly things. Micronutrient. They sometimes they use the word micronutrient, and they use the word antioxidant. These are complicated words, but these are things that help you repair your own body. So lime and lemon is one of
So I
them.
drink grapefruit and lemon.
I got a question.
Uh,
A lot of black people that I know think that apple cider vinegar is good for your health.
I'm about to ask you that.
Is that true?
Apple cider vinegar. Vinegar is a how should I say? It's a fermented material, and certain fermentations are helpful, create antioxidants. But I like you to get apple cider vinegar unsalted. You got to search for it, and if you can find it, I would encourage you to use that.
See, because my wife always tell me, every time I get sick, doc, listen to me, man. We right here.
Yeah.
Because I know she's watching. And I'm happy you on here because we here.
All right.
Every time I get sick or something, she's like, you got to drink vinegar. You got to drink. So that's why I'm happy he asked you about this vinegar thing. So I can go back and be like, now what?
So it's not true. I should stay away from salt and vinegar. Apple cider vinegar.
You know, unsalted vinegar is not easy to find. If you can find it, it's
Able to drink it with water.
Supposed to drink more
I
water.
took a couple shots.
Some people do a shot it though. Some
Yeah,
people shot
I'm
it
about
straight
to
up.
die. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, some people shot it straight
I'm
up.
not sure that's really going to help.
That means because I cut back on the pickle juice and all that stupid stuff a grip ago.
Yeah, that's salt.
They said, a couple people in there, Larry said he is right. I stopped eating salt and I feel great. And Eric said, at the
Yes.
top of the comments,
Absolutely.
he said his friend DJ just had a stroke. He's just a serious matter.
It's sad.
So everybody
It's
need to
very
wake
sad.
up.
Wake
He
up.
said because they see you telling the truth. They said they need more people like you to wake them up.
Yes.
I got another
I'm
question.
just going down the list of what somebody said. Kenneth said,
Time to wake up, man.
ask him about a vegan diet, which I think Mr. 937
That's right.
just asked that
I
question.
got friends who substitute meals with like the protein shakes, the exercise shakes and things like that.
Yeah, that good for
No,
you.
That's the-
absolutely not. So this is marketing. Anything the marketing industry wants to sell you something, then suddenly they make you believe you need that. The protein, the kids are very big into that, and unfortunately, Dayton Children's Hospital has reported kidney toxicity with protein, excessive protein shake.
Eating like that muscle milk.
Yes. So by excessively. So
Wow.
do you think America is deficient in protein? Are you kidding me?
You think he's kidding? That was a stupid question.
So muscle milk ain't good for you.
No, I mean, why should it be? That's totally marketing.
Yeah.
This,
I used to drink it
A
too.
lot of people
I used to drink
riot.
it. I know people right now who be
buying that
like,
stuff up.
got big old
You've been
$80
just
containers
marketed.
of muscle milk.
When-
Powdered it up.
when somebody says stuff like that, I drink this and this is good for me. I said, did you ever look at the bottom of this? I said, no. Please look at the bottom. So what does it say? It says, sucker, got you.
Right.
Doctor, you just dropped that hot butter right there.
Just drop some hot
You
buttery.
dropped that hot butter, unsalted.
You just dropped them hottery.
So all these people in the gym that's got the workout shakes and the pre-workouts and
They've been marketed.
They-
Don't
so
fall for
they
it.
are market puppets.
Right.
Mm.
You're smarter than that.
Candace, will you please just call in so you can ask all the questions you want to ask I love that you rocking with us,
She
and
fine.
you always do.
I look too. She must be on the diet because she fine on the mother. She must not be eating no salt because she
And
cold piece.
So call in, and we'd like to hear from your voice.
She is a cold young woman.
She said, ask him about dairy.
Yes, I'm glad that came up. So, women, as she's, before I get into that, I just want to say one word, energy. So I became no salt person and many others. And one thing that happens, as opposed to what people might say, you're living no fun life now, nothing tastes good. As opposed to that, food started tasting better because every food item actually is so natural taste. And then once you drop salt out of it, you're taking less medications, you have more energy, you're less depressed. I can tell you from my own experience, I am 67 now, and I put in a 14 plus hour days. I wake up at 5 in the morning and my day doesn't end up till 9 o'clock, and I am on the phone through the night. I can do that at that age because I have more energy now than I ever had. And many people will attest to that. Anyway, going back to dairy, this is another marketing plot. The cheese especially. So cheese has been marketed to American women as the one that saves you from osteoporosis. You see osteoporosis on the list? Here, where is that list? So unfortunately, I'm here to tell you, if you heard it right, the cheese is the reason why American women get osteoporosis. Let me repeat that. Cheese is the reason why you get osteoporosis. Cheese is not going to protect you from osteoporosis. And we know that from a lot of studies. Actually, America does not make cheese without salt. The American women have been totally brainwashed and marketed so badly that they don't have to make low salt cheeses. But if you go to Canada, Australia, England, New Zealand, and many other countries where people eat cheese, they do make low salt cheeses. In America, they don't, because American women love cheese. The most favorite item. Please don't take cheese out of my
American women.
American women, men too, but women especially. The data shows American women eat 34 pounds of cheese per year.
Woo!
34 pounds. And we put cheese in everything that we eat,
And that's
okay?
all Chipotle
And
right
still get osteoporosis. 85%. 85% women in America get osteoporosis.
I got a question, Doc.
And osteoporosis comes from eating cheese, which comes with salt. More salt you eat, more calcium you lose. The more salt you eat, more calcium you lose. Is how you get osteoporosis.
Hey, real quick, before we go, I want to say this. Candace, make sure you be safe.
Be
She
safe,
said she had to save her battery because she's in the middle of the hurricane.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
be safe.
safe.
Pray for
So
you.
we pray
Please
for
do.
you, and you do. Please be safe. And due to the fact that you are watching us in the middle of the hurricane,
you a real
let us
G.
know you rock with us heavy, and we rock with you.
We about to send you an A9 raincoat, girl. Cause
Man,
look,
what? She said I'm
We
in the
about
middle
to-
of the hurricane,
A9 raincoat.
and I gotta watch the show.
with
So
some galoshes.
we appreciate it.
Doc,
So
these people, one more question.
Yes.
Organic food. A lot of people seem to think we know it's expensive as hell.
Yes.
People think like we eat organic, that's a good way to go. Is organic a good way to go?
I reserve my judgment on that because I'm concerned about the labels. If I don't trust the processing industry, okay, very simple, and they can put whatever label they want.
Right.
Right.
Or how do you know? Did you come raise that whatever thing in your own backyard? Then it's organic, and
Yeah.
you know it is. But if you go to the store and buy something that is labeled organic, how do you know it is what
That's
it
right.
is?
That's right.
You don't. So in summer, you can raise a lot of vegetables. There's a town in Oregon, for example. Everybody puts peaches in
Right.
their backyard. So they all harvest at the same size, short season. So they load them up in the trucks and give away the peaches to the neighboring cities. So there is a way to grow your own food in our own backyard if you really want to be serious about organic. If you're serious about organic, you should get in the kitchen garden. But buying organic labeled food in the stores is not my cup of tea.
Ooh. Did you answer your
So
question?
the probably the safest way would probably just what? Buy our
Grow your own.
grow your own.
Grow your
Have to
own.
eat,
You can grow everything, but within reason, you can grow certain things.
Now I did hear that some of the produce that we do buy, they even add stuff to that
Yes, they do.
as far as just keeping it from rotting quicker.
Because it travels long distance, so they want it to remain fresh, and they add all kinds of chemicals.
Oh yeah, damn.
So
I like green tomatoes,
you like green tomatoes?
Yes.
That's fine.
but I fry them though.
I like peppers.
With,
I'm a big pepper fan.
Pepper.
cornmeal and
Okay.
all that. That's
Okay.
that bad.
Salt.
I don't eat green
Yeah.
tomatoes now. Cool.
Well, there's a way to make it less destructive. You don't have to fry it in 1,000-degree temperature. You can pan fry them perhaps, less heat, and don't cook it until you don't recognize what it is.
Now, my last question:
Yes, sir.
what is the safest?
You said your last question
I do.
6
When
times.
I think about stuff, 'cause Doc, I like to eat. I'm an eater, man. I love to eat. What is the safest meat to eat?
Fish,
Flat out, with
That's
fish.
it, no?
any
What-
fish,
Any
as long
fish.
as you don't deep fry it.
I heard people say tilapia is bad though.
No, not unless you eat every meal the same thing. Then because these also are farm raised now, and some fish have some chemical content in it. So supposed to be careful, but you have to eat a boatload of fish to get into that kind of trouble.
But they said tilapia is not even real fish. They said tilapia is bad for you.
No, I
Right.
don't know. It's still okay. Tilapia is my catfish. They're all farm raised now. Even salmon is farm raised now. So
Ah,
So why did we? Cause I just started hearing this year that tilapia is not good for you.
Yeah.
Why did we get that discrepancy between tilapia and like
See,
shrimp?
there was
Like,
a- there
they
was a-
say
there
don't eat
was
shrimp
a-
either.
there was a white fish like catfish that was formed in Thailand, and they were dumping it in American market, and they couldn't compete with that. So they raised a slogan like, "Oh, this white fish is not good." So they raised a scare so that they can shut off the competition. So it may be something like that. But as far as I know, I don't. There's no reason to single out tilapia among all the farm-raised fish. And if I will, when I get back home, I'm going to research it more. If I find something very specific about tilapia, I will be the one to call you.
Because
Please
they,
do.
they pretty much
But as
said
far as
that,
I know, I don't. There is no.
well, they said that tilapia was like the rodent of the
Like a
ocean.
bottom feeder.
Yeah, like a bottom feeder.
So is catfish. So is catfish.
Yeah, and I love catfish. White,
So catfish is the ultimate example of bottom dweller.
So they said that about shrimp too. They said shrimp
Yeah,
do the
right,
same thing.
right.
Well, damn.
so
Ain't
How about
that
it?
safe?
Doc, we appreciate you coming on here.
Sure, you're welcome.
But I want to stand something out to you.
Okay.
Once a month, we need you to come on 89 Radio.
Well, I'll try to come as often as possible.
We got to get you on
here.
here to keep on spending some of this buttery hotness.
All butter
To the
I'm
people.
salty.
We got to keep on. Because I feel the more we discuss it, see, what happens is that it stops because we talk about it and then nobody talk about it no more.
Right, you drop
So
the
once
ball.
you talk about
It's
it,
not one
talk
and
about
done.
it no more, it's not consistent speaking on
Yeah.
salt and all that stuff. It's just you stop talking about it. 3-4 months later, you hear it again. You're like, oh yeah, and then you know what I'm saying? It's not no continuous talking about it.
Have you seen this one? I wear this in the hospital all the time.
Oh,
You seen
I
it?
like that.
Salt kill, yes.
Oh man.
I wear it all the time. So to your point, it's not just one time thing. You need to constantly remind people.
I want to keep on. So I'm gonna get with you. We ain't gonna say no dates or nothing, but I'm gonna get with you again and see can we keep this ball rolling.
So Mary Moore, right? She's the one who keeps me straight. She
Yes.
makes sure I show up where I'm supposed to.
Yes.
And she will make sure that I show up. So I would love to come back and share my thoughts with your audience. Absolutely.
And we gotta come up with some campaigns. And we gotta
Yeah.
really get this health issue back
Yeah.
together because I feel the more people do it, it'll push my own self. I think one individually you do it, when you start getting a group and everybody doing it.
It's a group effort. We need more and more
Right,
and
and
more.
it's
of it.
affecting our people, so we
Yes.
need to get it out there.
That's what I'm talking
Lord,
about.
You right.
Hey, she just got excited real quick.
Yeah, she good.
Yeah, so diabetes is a big problem in Black America also.
Diabetes?
My son got
Diabetes.
diabetes.
Your son got diabetes?
Type 2 diabetes,
that.
especially, it comes from eating salt also. I'm going to leave this with you.
Right.
But if you want to prevent type 2 diabetes, which is so common in Black America, you first have to prevent high blood pressure. And that is it's a 1-2 punch. So if you want to stop high diabetes, an incurable condition, you have to stop with high blood pressure. You got to put the brakes on that one.
Well, you
That's
know,
my target.
I must say, I just went to the doctor not even a month ago.
Yeah.
And even though he did tell me I was fat, he told me I had a clean bill of health.
Obese.
He did
That's
tell me I
good.
was
Keep
fat,
it that
though.
way. But if you keep eating wrong, don't wait till it comes, man. Don't wait till it comes.
Yeah, he did tell me I was considered
It's gonna come.
technically by, I guess, y'all standards. I was obese. I'm 285, but hey.
Yeah. You see this one here? on the list?
Obesity.
Does it say obesity on there?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
it is.
Well, see, I can't read that real, dog. So that's why I thought obesity actually started with it today. So that's why I didn't read that.
Cut it out.
I'm dead.
So
sure about
you
that.
might want, I mean, as a parting discussion, what is the connection between the salt and obesity?
I thought the A was
So-
silent.
Salt is like a sponge, like we talked about, and salt retains water. So if you really truly watch your salt intake, both not adding salt and not eating salty things, the first thing that happens, you lose the excess water weight. All our bodies are holding some water, especially if you're salt sensitive, and you lose a lot of pounds very quickly. All this excess water weight goes away. That's number one that happens. That's a connection with osteoporosis.
So,
Second thing that obesity. Second thing that happens is you try this with anything you want. The portion size goes down by itself. Let's say you're eating unsalted peanuts versus salted peanut. If you eat salted peanut, watching a ball game, drinking soda pop, you can finish off the 2 cans of salted peanuts. But if I give you unsalted peanuts or unsalted potato chips, you eat a certain amount and your brain says stop. You cannot eat any more than that. Okay? There's a stop sign in your brain that tells you how much of anything you're supposed to eat. By adding salt, that stop sign disappears. That's what the industry wants you to do. They don't want a stop sign in your brain. They want you to eat their product more and more. Okay, that's why they fight any salt restriction. So now what happens? In the first stage, you lose the excess water weight, which happens very quickly. In the second stage, your portion size of everything that you're eating reduces, and as a result, your weight goes lower and lower and sustains there. It's not like any other diet you jump on, jump off. Once you start enjoying the food without salt, when somebody suddenly gives you something salty, you don't want it anyway. So it's automatic diet control, and that's what industry hates. They don't want you to do that. Okay, so I have many examples and studies to prove that. So if you know this is a simple test. If you really truly followed low salt diet, you're going to lose weight. That is the best example.
You know, I gave up smoking 10 years ago, so I
Congratulations.
think I can give up.
Congratulations. That is
I'm
much.
try to give up salt.
And I ain't pork.
I used to smoke.
I ain't pork in almost 13 years.
I used to smoke
14
black and
years.
miles on the regular.
Congratulations.
We can do that. But let's at this, man. You tune in DJ Swig 897. And before we go, Kenneth said people don't take their health serious until they about to die. We get
Or
emotionally
something
attached
bad
to
happens.
food, and we eat to live instead of live to eat. Yeah, that's right.
right.
That's right.
He said it.
Like I said, you tune in DJ Swig, man. 89 Radio, my man, Mr. 937, man. How can I get a hold of
They
you?
can get a hold of me on Twitter at Mr937. They can get a hold of me on Facebook also at Stephen Rolls. And last but not least, I'm going to give a birthday shout out to my homegirl Gucci, solid listener. Happy birthday, Gucci.
Happy birthday.
I seen you barbecuing in front of the house, so that's why I tagged her and like, girl.
Happy birthday,
I said,
Gucci.
she poured that salt on quick, girl, but the food do be good. I might go to get a wing or something. But
Don't give him that.
Hey, listen, I'm not playing, man. I'm not playing. We gonna come with this weekend, man. We gonna do this.
Count me out. I love salt. I want to live, but woo.
So hold on.
The loser got to give it up.
Hold on.
She's going to do that. She just wanted to put you on.
Listen,
I would do it. I'll just
she just missed. Nah, dog. She
She's
just missed
messing
the.
with
She
She just missed the whole conversation. She's serious.
Doc.
She missed the whole conversation what we just talked about today.
That is what
How
she
you
just
just?
said.
How
She
you?
just said a TIA, mini stroke.
Nah, you know what? We gonna cut her microphone off. She's out of here. Ebony, how can I get a hold of you?
Ebony Chantel on Facebook and Ebony Chantel on Instagram.
Mrs. Salt.
Y'all know y'all can get a hold of me, man. Google me, DJ
Followers
Swig,
up.
89 Radio. Let's get it popping. Your followers up. They getting up. How they growing?
Celebrity out here.
They growing. Doc, how can I get a hold of you to get
So
this
I
more
have,
building
I
hotness?
have a website and a blog site, saltkills.com. One word, salt kills. Salt like salt and sugar, kills like living and dying, saltkills.com. And all my writings are there in blogs. There are videos, there are 2-minute, very creative 2-minute videos that you can look at. I've written about against vitamins. I've written against table salt. I've written against sea salt. I've written against a variety of things. And you can check it all in those things. And my books are available on Amazon on Kindle format as well as paperback. And you have the links also on my website, saltkills.com.
And also, man, all his information will be on 89 Radio's fan page, and it also will be on our website. So we're gonna have a link so it can link up back to you, so they can get a hold of you and get this information. Make sure y'all stay tuned in. Make sure y'all follow us every day, 24 hours, 7 days a week. The illest radio station that ever stepped on this planet. 89 Radio, the movement. Let's go. If you share, Doctor, you doing your heart surgery? You be singing?
Yes, I do.
You do? What you be singing?
Whatever is on the radio.
Huh?
So you have somebody on the table, wide open,
Yes, I
chest
do.
all open,
Yeah.
and you just start singing the OJs.
Whatever. I mean, the choice of the music is to the nurse who's circulating, the one who brings things around. Because I'm engaged in whatever I'm doing, so I'm not the time doesn't really, but the one who's circulating, he's bored sometimes, so he needs to stay active. So he in my room, he gets to pick the music.
So what y'all be listening to?
We have a country. My partner likes Taylor Swift. And
so what song do you? I know it be in your ear. You be singing. You be humming something. How you be singing? Come on, give me just.
I usually hum some Indian music.
How you go?
Bollywood music. Jai Ho.
There you go. How go?
Jai Ho. So that's a theme song from Slumdog Millionaire.
Give me a line. Give me a line. Come on.
Line is Jai Ho.
So that's all you be like. J Ho.
Jai Ho.
J Ho.
Jai Ho means victory to you.
J Ho. J Ho. That's it. J Ho.
So have you ever?
No, it's a big dance number actually.
That's what I'm saying. It's a bit J Ho.
Jai Ho.
J Ho. J Ho. J Ho.
Yeah,
Oh, he's it.
you got it. You got it.
He's it.
Hey, that's right.
I feel like if I was a doctor doing heart surgery or somebody, I would probably sing to whoever that person was. Papa was a road.